Hello everyone, how are you guys doing? I hope you all can see me. Just a moment, I'm gonna ask if MJ can see me. Hey everyone, how have you all been? I know I missed the last week because I was down with this really terrible cough and I just, couldn't go live. I don't see anyone yet. I'm going to give it a couple of minutes until I see more of y'all join me. I hope you have all been fine, and I know 2023 has been a very interesting year so far, and and many of y'all are witnessing a lot of new experiences. Hey MJ, good to see you. Um, Also, I wanted to give a brief on the energies of March had been quite fiery, and many of y'all may have noticed massive changes. Hey, Sheena. Aw, good to see you. Finally. All right, today we're going to talk about DF depression and coping mechanisms and everything that you guys have been dealing with. Hi, Bharati. Bharati says hi to everyone. I've been all right. I was down with this really bad cough last week, hence that's why I couldn't go live. But good to see all of y'all. I know it's a bit late for some of y'all, but again, I'm just going to give it a few more minutes until more of y'all join me. And meanwhile, how have you all been, and what have you all been experiencing so far? And if there's anything you would like to ask me or share with me, feel free to ask. This is your time and space to ask me anything. Hi, Diana, and Diana says hi to everyone. Hi, Mai says hi to everyone too. So how have you all been, guys? Like, what's new? Like, what has been happening? Have you all been feeling um, the strong energies that has been affecting the collective lately? Some of y'all, again, might feel extremely fatigued, tired, confused, sad, for lack of a better word. Hi, Nimit. Nimit says hi to everyone. Oh, yes, yes, guys. The full moon is coming up in about 5 days, and yes, it does tend to affect us in many ways. Oh dear, depressed as anything. Diana says depressed as anything. So well, which means today's topic has come in the right time then. I know it has been affecting the collective a lot lately. Like you guys may feel um, almost an unexplainable level of fatigue, sadness, fear. Um, it's unexplainable. You probably are not even in control of what you're feeling anymore. And hence, that's why I thought this would be a perfect topic. Because many divine feminines are at a state whereby they're not able to pull the plug on the journey, neither are they able to stay on and cope with the journey either. So it has been quite a ride for many of y'all, and a lot of why you guys are facing depression is because in a twin flame journey you don't work on timelines, or you don't really get any kinds of clues or anything. There's nothing to fall back on or rely on. It's just something that keeps happening without control. And that's why a big part of the journey is giving up control. And that's what many of y'all are struggling with. And a lot of what comes as an effect of not giving up control is depression, fear, anger, frustration. All of these emotions and feelings tend to follow suit because you are lost, you're not able to navigate this journey, you don't know what is happening, and you are constantly living in this state as to what's going to happen next. And that's why these things tend to take a toll on your well-being, and hence that's why it's so important to acknowledge this. It's okay to feel not okay, especially when it comes to dealing with depression. And this tends to affect almost everyone in the twin flame journey. There will come a point where you do experience intense pain, sorrow, hopelessness, and just not being able to understand anything at all. Diana says, I feel you on that. 100% definitely feel like giving up. Yes, and giving up. And I've tapped onto the energies and noticed one thing. The Divine Feminine Collective is on the verge of giving up, like completely. You have been on this journey for a very long time, and it's not even time that matters, it's how you have been feeling, what you have been facing, everything that has been happening. It's all coming to you all at the same time, and you just want to like give up give up on everything and just pretend that nothing exists. And a lot of fear and depression tends to take over you is because you're not able to understand what this journey is about as well. You're like trying to figure out, like, why is it so hard, like why is it so difficult, like compared to every other journey that exists out there. Why must this journey be the hardest, and why is it that your twin flame comes in and out, and constantly it's like, and it always tends to happen when you are almost on the verge of giving up. That's when you get some kind of a sign, or some kind of a symbolism, something. You might see 1111, you might see your twin flame's name somewhere. Adrian says, hi, nice to meet you. Amy, I understand why it's hard. I just wish I wasn't on it. Yes, that's another big sentiment that a lot of divine feminines are feeling as well, which is, why am I on this dreadful journey? Like, why must I get into this? Did I, if I had a choice, I would not have chosen this journey. And why would my soul even want to partake in this? Questions like this are like probably occupying your mind, and you're fully in so much, on top of feeling so much sorrow and pain and depression and confusion and sadness. You're asking yourself this question: why am I on this journey, and why must it affect me this much, and why must it create so much pain in my life? Like, why do I even deserve this? What did I do to deserve this? Like, questions like this. And another thing is, once you start going down this pathway of questioning, you tend to feel much more intensely affected by it. And it's really hard, because then you start to feel more misery and unexplainable amount of sadness. You see, life in itself is so hard, guys, and this twin flame journey is like something unimaginable. It's unimaginably complex, something that no matter what you do, you're not gonna find meaning as easily. It's one of those journeys that you just have to suffer and suffer and suffer until you find a balance, you find coping mechanisms. And that's why I thought today would be perfect to talk about how do you actually cope with all of this. You are being flooded by all these emotions and pain, and you're in depression. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about what is divine feminine depression and what it does to you, and how it starts to eat into all aspects of your life to the point that you're not able to like function at all. Probably have no will to wake up in the morning, you don't feel like doing anything, and you have no inspiration. You are basically lifeless. Okay, I'm going to read out some comments before I continue on this. Amy, everyone says not to focus on the label. Trust me, I'm not. I'm focused on the feelings because I can't make it go away. I'd give anything to feel nothing. Oh, my same here again. I don't want to feel these feelings anymore. I just want to live and not feel anymore. And that's exactly what divine feminine depression does. You are in so much pain that you just don't want to feel anything anymore. You want to be numb. You want to be completely numb to it. And that's what exactly starts to happen when you first meet your twin flame. There's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of joy, there's this feeling of bliss and recognition, like you've finally found the love of your life. And then after that, and sorry guys, my cough is still not fully cured yet, so I'm still a bit sore out there. My sore throat is still, so forgive me for the interruptions. So as I was saying, it tends to like eat into you in levels that, and it happens so quickly from the time you make first contact with your twin flame and you realize you're on a twin flame journey, and then you experience this never ending separation, no communication, not understanding what it is. Sometimes you start to wonder, am I just obsessing over this journey? Am I the crazy one? Is there something wrong with me mentally? Am I not? You'll start to notice certain traits that are not even you. For example, you may not be a jealous person, or you may not be an obsessed person, and all of a sudden all of these traits tend to surface, and you're wondering, this is not me at all. Why am I behaving like this? And all of this tends to drive you to a state of complete madness. And that's when you completely lose yourself in this journey. And some of y'all, that's the point where you might experience the dark night of the soul. For some of y'all, it might be just pure blank existential crisis. For some of y'all, you may just be feeling suicidal. You just want to end it. You just don't want to. You have no will to live, and you feel like that is the only way. If I end this life, then I'll completely forget. But that's the thing, that's not going to happen. You're still going to be faced with this wherever you end up. And death is a mere door, like it closes up here, but it opens up elsewhere. So that's not the solution either. And you basically, and after a while, some of y'all just become like literally like zombies. You're like Walking Dead. You're just functioning and surviving. Some of you all are just on survival mode. You're just existing for the sake of existing. You're just going on with your day-to-day responsibilities. You guys are just doing what you need to do for mere survival reasons. Okay, I'm going to read some comments. Amy says, I started my antidepressants and anxiety meds. It's not helping much. So that's another big thing as well, because this is not exactly a psychological illness. If twin flame depression is different to mainstream depression, so you're not going to get the help from a psychiatrist or a psychologist, or you're not going to get help from any of this mainstream medical faculties. It's just going to make it worse. And that's the thing. Like, there is depression, there's clinical depression, and then for clinical depression, doctors would prescribe a certain level of medication. And that's why when you're saying antidepressants or anxiety meds are not helping, a lot of other divine feminines will be able to relate that with you as well, because it's not going to exactly help, because this is different. It's a different kind of depression. And if it was mainstream depression, it's different. You would be able to get help from society. But because this is unique to the twin flame journey, a lot of introspection and survival is involved. Hence, that's why medication is not going to help necessarily. But maybe for some of y'all it may help. But most of y'all, especially if you are struggling from twin flame depression, it's not going to help. And another thing is that even if you were to go see a psychiatrist and you were going to explain to them about your twin flame journey, you're just going to be misdiagnosed on multiple levels, probably for I don't know, so many things, because the twin flame journey tends to bring these things out. But the purpose of the twin flame journey is evolution and spiritual growth. So it's not really going to tie in with the mainstream medicine. Janelle, but we can't be numb. That's the thing. They say that mental illness medication will make you numb, but that's the thing. Even if you were to be on this medication, you may feel little or nothing, because what you are experiencing is way more internal. It's you're experiencing soul level crisis. Your soul is literally crying out for help. You're in so much pain, and you just want to be happy. You just want to survive. You just want to hear your divine masculine's voice. You just want to see him again. And in fact, at this point in your twin flame journey, you are probably at a point where you'll accept anything, even breadcrumbs from your divine masculine. Diana, I'll give anything just to communicate with my DM and let him know how much his actions are actually painful. Like, I'm so over this. And there's so much you want to communicate with your divine masculine, and you're holding back so much. And all of this is just causing you to just freeze. And it's like the pain only increases. There's no way it decreases. Every single day it just becomes worse. Like Amy says, exactly, I never felt like this over a guy. My thoughts sometime. Amy, I'm not gonna lie, the only thing that gets me up are my kids lately. The idea of leaving them, the only thing that keeps me here. Oh, bless your heart, Amy. I know it's probably like that's the only way. Like, that is like your coping mechanism. Like the thought of your kids. And looking at their faces every single morning, and And many of y'all have children, have so many responsibility. You're caring for your loved ones, and being in this journey is just going to, it's just going to make it worse on every single level. I know I'm just surviving. Yes, exactly. Most of y'all are just surviving. It's, there is no better word or better way to describe. You guys are just surviving. Amy, nope, I don't tell my therapist. She already doesn't think my DM is right for me. Oh boy, you don't want to talk to your therapist about it. Next thing, your therapist is just going to just going she's just going to open up more and more wounds. And that's the thing, you're not able to talk about your journey to anyone else either. If this was a normal relationship, you could easily see a counselor, a therapist, a psychiatrist. Like, you can get help, if this was a normal relationship, and true enough, that's going to help. Like, you will be given coping mechanisms to survive, and you will, and that's the thing, if it was a normal relationship, with time you will be able to get over it as well. But because it's not a normal relationship, and being on a twin flame journey, it's just different to being on any other journey. There is a constant question in your mind as to what is it that I can do to make myself feel better. And that's the thing, and that's when your whole yearning for spiritual knowledge starts, and that's when you truly start to seek God and to seek the mysteries of the universe, to understand what it is that you're feeling, and why is it that you have to go through all of this. And why does twin flame depression differ from normal, as in, why does twin flame depression differ from clinical depression? Again, I'm not an expert in the topic of clinical depression, but from what I have read about, for people who actually suffer from depression, sometimes they may not even have a reason why they're suffering from depression, and it just affects them, and it just takes over them to the point that they have no control over their life or their emotions or their state of mind. Whereas with twin flame depression, you know the very reason why you're feeling depressed. It is because you're on the twin flame journey. And when you actually can pinpoint directly to why you're feeling the way you're feeling, that would bring you back to how you can actually survive. So with that, let me start. So after you experience the ever the everlasting feeling of recognizing your twin flame for the first time in your life, and then slowly you start to experience what this journey is about, and by the time it gets to you, you are in the state of separation, and then slowly depression starts seeping in because you are in no control of what is happening to you. And further to it, as I was saying, once the crippling depression of being in the twin flame journey starts happening, slowly you will notice immense changes happening. And a big part of it would be to question your identity, to question your role, to start to question everything that exists, even your whole life, how you've been coping with relationships, how you have been feeling the way you have been feeling, and everything. I'm going to read some comments in the meanwhile. I see MJ has written big comment. Oh, I see a lot of comments coming in. I wish that helped. Mine has so much fear. He only thinks I'm going to hurt him. So let his thoughts overtake him and blames me for what has went wrong. So I'm going to read out MJ's comment. Vaish, you're so right on point there, and I wish they will all understand. Let me give an example. At one time, I was so depressed, bawling, my nose started bleeding like a running faucet. I was talking to Metatron as I was crying, telling him I wanted to die. I walked to my bathroom sink, put my head forward, still arguing with Metatron and telling him I was going to just bleed to death. I'm not gonna stop it. The minute I said that, the bleeding stopped, dead in its track. I guess I can't win against an archangel. You're there to help us, to make us feel better and help us. And MJ continues, you can't even tell your doctor you have those sad thoughts. They'll get you admitted and all drugged up. And if you start talking about clairaudient, and here comes electric shock therapy. Thank you, MJ, for that. And MJ is 100% right about this. The only way to actually survive is to actually acknowledge the fact that you're on a spiritual journey and what you're experiencing is completely 100% spiritual, and you are on this journey and it is divine. And the only way you can find understanding, solace and survival is actually connecting to God, connecting to your angels, to actually get support from the etheric world. Because if you were to go to a doctor and if you were to say any of this that you've been experiencing or witnessing, you're going to be probably be diagnosed with like OCD and obsession and whatever that may exist in the medical world of definition and diagnosis. And like MJ says, worst comes to worst, electric shock therapy, if you start talking about your abilities and your clairvoyance and everything. So that's why you will first have to like acknowledge the fact that what you are feeling is part of the journey. And there's sometimes you have to let go of control and you have to completely surrender to the universe. You have to surrender to God, to divine. You have to completely go into that state whereby you will have to just pray and beg the universe for help. And that's why MJ's experience is a beautiful. Thanks for sharing that, MJ. How she talks about how she completely surrendered, and at that moment the bleeding stopped. And that is the level of surrender you guys have to go when you are feeling that you're not able to cope with that extreme level of pain that you are going through. Amy, I think my only reason for taking the meds is that I feel crazy and some of these just doesn't feel real at times. So I think it's a desperate attempt. The only one I talk to about any of this is God and everyone here. I'm so glad, Amy, that you are talking to God and you're talking to us, because it's so important to have this support system. If not, it's going to be really hard to survive this journey. That's why I tell you guys, I'm here every week. Whatever you're feeling, if you guys need to like let your heart out, you could do it during my lives, and you could always ask me any kind of questions. And the journey is not as easy as especially when you're in the early stages of the twin flame journey. You might think that, hey, I will survive this, I'll cope with this. It's not going to be like what everyone puts it out to be. I'll do it different. But slowly you will understand that the journey is not as straightforward as you might want it to be, or you might think it to be. It's way more complex. Amy, yes, that's what I've been doing. I told God that the only one that get healed is heartache. I can't do it on my own. That's why complete surrender and trust. so so right now, we have spent the first 30 minutes like talking about what this twin flame depression is, and cracking the many different strategies of coping and trying to deal with it, right? So I'm going to spend the next 30 minutes actually talking about, you see, that's the thing. It's not something that can be cured if you want to look at it in a very medical point of view. It is more of learning to adjust and learning to live with it. And for that, a big part is to let go of expectations, letting go of control, completely surrendering, and going on with your day to day life. I know these things will be very, very difficult. For some of y'all, it's just your children, or there's only one or two things that wants you to, there's only one or two things that really matter in your life that helps you to even like wake up every single morning. And you have to focus on your loved ones. You have to focus on what truly matters, because once you start thinking about your twin flame, your divine masculine, the pain just expands, and it keeps on expanding to the point of infinity, and you're just not able to like tolerate it. That's how painful it can get. Next up is that I was going to talk about, some of the spiritual ways of coping would be talking to God, talking to your angels, letting your heart out, having this support system where you can ask me. You can always have a check-in with us. We have free reading, so anytime you need anything, you can always comment, or if anything is really, really bothering you, you can always write out a post as well, and we are here to support you. So the internal part of coping would be to actually talk to God, talk to the universe, whichever way you feel most comfortable expressing. Sometimes it might not be talking, it could be writing. You can literally like write a letter to God, listing all that you're feeling. Secondly, you have this community, this group where you could relay how you're feeling. Next up, I'm going to talk about physical ways to cope with twin flame depression. So salt baths really help. Nature really helps, because this is a spiritual, what you're going through is 100% spiritual. Nature has got its remedies. So when you start to eat healthy, when you start to be more conscious of what you put into your tummy, and nature, salt baths, even going to the beach, trying to meditate. Meditation would be really hard when you're depressed, because it's one of those things that It would be really hard to get your mind to focus. Next up would be to actually cry it out. Sometimes you may feel like, hey, I'm not going to cry about this, I'm just going to hold it all inside. But you have to go to this private space of yours and let it out. If you need to scream, you have to scream. You need to like cry it out, you have to cry it out. If not, you're just going to hold it in so much for so long. Another thing is you can also start communicating with your divine masculine in 5D. And this is something that I've talked about in my previous videos. You can always look them up. They're all there. That actually eases. So once you start building a relationship with your divine masculine in 5D, you will start to feel a little less in pain than you used to, because you'll feel the closeness. You'll feel like your twin flame is there for you. Amy, I cry all the time. I'm honestly tired of crying. I'm such a baby and I can't keep in it. Yes, there will come a point where you feel like even crying doesn't help anymore because you're just tired of crying. Diana, oh girl, yep, totally feeling the crying it out vibes. Pretty sure my eyes are sore from crying. Yeah, twin flame journey, expect your eyes to be sore for a very long period of time. It's one of those things that you're going to spend a lot of time. Another thing is about this journey is that it's long. It's completely long and unpredictable. You don't know what to expect. You don't know what's going to happen. And you may also feel very much alone in this journey because you don't know what's going to happen next. And if we really want to talk about what twin flame depression is, there are no words to describe the pain, and only those in the journey will actually quite able to understand it. And that's why, guys, it's only here you can truly talk about how you're feeling. And it happens in stages and different layers as well. So sometimes you may be feeling like, why, you might be regretting, is there something I could have done to have made things better? Is there something I could have changed that would have not caused my twin flame to have such a gap with me right now? That you might be feeling. Then there will come a stage whereby there'll be a lot of yearning, a lot of missing, a lot of how can I get my twin flame to come back into my life? How can I get him to talk to me again? What is it that I can do? All these questions would tend to take over your mind. And then the next stage would be anger, a lot of anger as to like, why must he make me feel this way? Why must he hurt me? Why did he do this? Why did he do that? All of that would start coming in. And then the other stage would be, you're just so emotional, you're so pained, you're not able to give up, you're not able to surrender, you're just so lost. So all of this accumulates to the point where you're just depressed, you're completely sad, and there's no out from that sadness either. So that's why you have to take one step at a time, and you will have to accept that it's okay to feel what you're feeling, and everyone in this journey is also feeling that. Amber, hi Amber, I'm good, how are you? Amber says, yes, I've cried a lot in the past. There was a period of loads of tears. Yes, there will be these periods, and sometimes you may feel that this period is over, but then it will come again, and then you will go into that period of crying again. Amy, I know it's all divinely guided. None of it makes sense. So the only thing that makes sense is that just has to be this way. It doesn't make it easier. Exactly. So, like I was saying, letting go of control, is a big part of this journey, and acceptance, just as much as letting go of control is a big part of this journey, acceptance is also a big part of this journey. And it will be hard, but after a while you will get used to what you're feeling, and then you will find your own way of coping with what you're feeling, like going on with day-to-day life. Especially in the initial stages, it will be extremely hard, no matter what you do, no matter what you try, just going to find yourself excuse me, back to square one. But then slowly you will find the strength, the courage to carry on with this journey. And slowly you will start to see a shift, and then you will also notice spiritual changes taking place in your life, your own soul growth, your own spiritual evolution, and everything. I think I've pretty much covered. I know I've not gone in depth. Again, we're only doing this for an hour, so it's only this much I can cover. If you guys have any questions, please keep them coming in. So once you recognize what you're going through, you will realize that you can rely on some of the coping mechanisms that I've suggested, some strategies. But again, these are all just temporary. You will you will feel like in the long run it is complete surrender. It's complete surrender to the journey. So letting go of control, acceptance, and surrender, these are like the three magic words on the journey. And then, having said that, I think I've pretty much covered everything. So if you guys have any more questions, keep asking me. If not, I'll wrap up for the day. I'm sure I know a lot of you all watch a replay. So if you still have any questions, guys, please feel free to message me or write a note on my feedback file or something like that. And if you guys want me to talk about a certain topic, please feel free to suggest that as well. I'm going to read Amy's comment. I think it's hard for me because I get a grasp on it and then he comes back. Then I'm struggling again with the energy and something even worse happens. So I'm tired, I surrender and he comes back, and then here we are. So that also happens, when you sometimes you're vibing really high, you're in a complete state of surrender, and then he comes back. He comes back, and then it all starts over again. And no matter what you do, you're going through exactly what you experienced. And when you keep seeing these patterns repeating, one thing you have to notice is that you got to change the way you do things. If not, you're going to get the same results. So example, after you meet your DM after a long time, what are you going to do different this time? And then slowly you will start to notice a change. And of course, it is much more difficult than I say it. And it is. That's why expectations, you can't have any kind of expectations in this journey. Expectations is like the biggest killer. The moment you start having expectations, timelines, desires, everything starts crashing by, and you will notice your whole world collapsing. So that's why you have to get into that state of complete surrender and let go of control, and keep on believing in this journey, and when you start doing these things, you will notice the shift. Alright, guys, I'm up for some channeling if you guys want me to. And of course, if there are any more questions about this topic, feel free to ask me. I know a lot of you all might have questions later, so let them coming. Feel free to ask them too. And of course, if you guys want a private reading or a consultation, you can always book me up for a private reading or a healing. And that's why sometimes once you recognize that this is part of the journey, it will provide you with some kind of relief. And then you will start to be able to better handle what you're going through. And slowly you will start to notice a shift in your circumstances, your life, and the journey. But before all of that happens, a big part of everything is that you will notice how things would just start to, especially before union, one of the biggest signs you will notice is that your shadow side, your deepest fears, everything will start coming to the surface, and you will notice, you will be more straightforward. You will not be a doormat anymore. Even with your divine masculine, you will be upright about everything. You'll be honest about everything. You will start telling him exactly what you're feeling, and you're not going to allow him to take you for granted. So that's why everything will come to the surface, and you will come to the point where, and this is how you achieve balance as well. And when you are at this point where you are able to express yourself 100%, that's when there's balance in the journey. What happens is with a lot of divine feminines is that they tend to hold back, and because of the separation phase and all the gaps that tend to take during the course of the relationship, they tend to settle for everything. The expectations become so low. You see, that's why I'm saying don't have any expectations at all, because once you have expectations, either it comes to a state whereby it becomes extremely low, or you just accept everything because you just want to see him, you just want to be with him, and then you'll realize that you're not being treated right. And these are some of the signs before union. Everything everything that you have been holding back, everything that will all come to the surface. And from your divine masculine side too, all that he has been holding back. So I'll talk more about this, signs before union, probably next week. All right, I'm going to do some channeling now. Amy, I would like some channeling if there's anything to know from his higher self or guides. His higher self wants you to know that he's very embarrassed at himself for his behavior, for how he's treating you, and for not being able to do anything more. There's a lot of fear and sadness, and it feels like there's so much he wants to say, but he's holding back a lot. So that's what I'm getting from his higher self. So just hang in there and stay strong, and he will come back to you. So that's the message I'm getting for you, Amy. Amber, what messages does JG have for me and current energy of our connection, please? And thank you. JG wants you to know that he has been a coward. He has not fully been honest with you in expressing how he feels. He has been holding back a lot. He wants to be more, he wants to show more strength and courage in your relationship. He wants to be the man you deserve to have. Like, he wants to start portraying more masculine qualities, and he also wants to be more truthful about his feelings towards you. So that's why the current energies between you both is, I would, so the current energies between you both is that it's evolving, there's so much growth that is taking place. So that's what's happening. Hey, Sheena. Herrick has been hot and cold lately. What is holding him back? What I sense is that a lot of fear is holding him back. He's worried about the distance, he's worried about the future, he's worried about not being good enough. A lot of his insecurities are coming up to the surface. So it's like he is in like a runner mode, and that's why he comes in and out. At the same time, he doesn't want to let go of you, but at the same time, he's afraid of the future. It's like he knows you are the one, but at the same time, he's afraid to explore more. So that's what's holding him back, and that will change. Shay, may I ask if Frank has any messages for me, please and thank you. Frank has been very quiet, and what I'm getting is there's a reason for his silence. He feels like every time he gives you hope and he doesn't live up to it, he ends up disappointing you, and he wants to avoid that pattern, and he wants to show he's more sincere and reliable. So that's what he's working towards. So that's what Frank wants you to know, that when he comes back to you, he wants to be a changed man. He wants to be more reliable, loving, kind, and authentic. It feels like he has never conveyed his true feelings for you, and there's so much love between the both of you, and that he has so much love for you. I hope that helps. Shay Nimit. Hi Vaish, do you have any update on the current energy from SPJ towards me, please? I feel she's distancing herself, so not sure how she feels about reunion. Thanks. Again, Nimit, I sense a lot of fear. She's always, when she feels the overwhelming energies of love between the both of you, she tends to fear that, because she's not used to experiencing a love that's out of this world, and she's very much living in 3D. So that's why every time, she feels the closeness with you, she tends to distance herself. So she will feel more stability in the coming months, and I feel like she will learn to appreciate you more. I hope that helps, Nimit. Or you're most welcome, Amy. Ali, Vaij, any channeling from Jeremy? Also drink some ginger, turmeric, a mint, and lemon tea to help you feel better. Oh, thank you so much for that. I'll definitely drink that. Thanks, Ali. Jeremy has such a beautiful picture of you. He sees you as the queen of his world. He puts you up in such high standards, almost up in a pedestal. And again, that is what prevents him from getting closer to you as well, because he has this underlying insecurity that he's not good enough for you. And that's why sometimes, he's all macho and confident, and he comes to you, and then there's another part of him that just holds back, and he just moves away from you. So his higher self wants you to know that he's working on himself, and that he will become the best version of himself before he comes back to you, and that he has so much love for you, and he does have many plans for a future with you. He wants to go on a lot of adventures with you, and he wants to treat you like a queen. So I hope that helps, Ellie. Sheena, thank you. You put into words how I was feeling about it all. Thanks, Sheena. All right, I'm just looking through if I'd missed anybody's. All right, Diana, I did want to ask, is there anything my DM wants me to know right now as I'm feeling there's a lot he isn't saying? Yes, he's holding back a lot. He feels a bit irritated by everything that is happening around him. As though he's annoyed at all that he's feeling about the journey. I sense a lot of uneasiness, and I feel that that's why he doesn't want to say anything wrong and regret later, and that's the reason why he's holding back a lot. And a lot of the irritation comes from himself, where he is in life and everything that's going through with him. So that's why he's just holding back a lot. It's like as though he's annoyed at the world and everything. So there's nothing personal towards you, and he's just taking this time apart from you because he doesn't want to say or do something that will ruin what you both have. But again, there's so much love between you, and there's so much, it's just that a lot is happening with him energetically at the moment that he's holding back. So that's what I'm getting for you, Diana. I hope that helps. So yes, Diana, I have answered you. Amber, thank you so much. Yes, we have been spending more time together. Things are moving forward. But yes, he's slow to tell me how he feels and express his feelings. I'm looking forward to him expressing how he feels about me. I appreciate your time and energy. Oh, you're most welcome, Amber. He will get there. He'll be fine. And things will continue to get better. Shay, thank you so much. He's been so quiet. I was getting sad about it. I needed to hear this. Diana, thank you so much, Faish. I really appreciate it. Hi, Tammy. Good to see you. All right, guys. If you guys have anything else, I will wrap up for the day. I think I have answered all of your questions. Oh, Nimit, thank you so much. SPJ would always overthink everything. When things were going well when we were together. So your message makes sense. Oh, thanks, Nimit. And he's definitely very distant at the moment, but pushing me away is actually worse than just telling me he's going through stuff. See, that's exactly like right now, Diana, if he were to communicate with you, what will happen is that he will end up saying things that you don't want to hear, or things that are not meant for you. For example, like the personal irritation he's going through right now, it's not because of you, but it might feel like if he communicates with you, it might feel like to you, it might feel like he's directing it towards you, and that's the reason why he's pushing you away. It's not you per se. Sheena, thank you. Feel better. Oh, I'm glad you do. All right, guys, it was so lovely doing this live with you guys, and I'll definitely come back with a much more interesting topic next week. I know this topic was I know it's quite sad, and talking about depression is never easy, and that's the thing. The Divine Feminine Collective tends to take the brunt of it, you see, and sadly, the way the Divine Masculine Collective experiences things are different to what the Divine Feminine Collective experiences. And I will definitely talk more about this. And if you guys want a private reading, a live Zoom session, or healing, don't hesitate to contact me, and I'll be happy to do a reading or a healing for you. Thank you so much, guys, for your wishes. You guys are amazing. Sheena says, thank you. Feel better. Nimit, hope you feel better soon and rest your voice. Thank you. I really have to. It's so sore from all the coughing. Diana, yep, I understand. Thank you. Amy, get well soon. Thanks, Amy. Shay, hope you feel better soon. Thank you so much, Shay. I look forward to the next live, and thank you for talking about a topic that doesn't often get talked about. Yes, I know it's a very sensitive topic, and like again, because this is a private live and I'm talking in a private space, I'm able to express my views on this. Of course, if this was like a mainstream channel, I wouldn't have been able to talk this much. Obviously, like saying how mainstream medication won't help a twin flame situation might not sit really well with the medical community. So for things like that, so that's why these lives are catered for the twin flame journey, for those who are on a spiritual twin flame starseed journey. So that's why, and again guys, whatever you share with me here remains private, and everything that we speak about in this group stays in this group, so you don't have to worry. So thanks, MJ, for all the hearts. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to DM me. And if you want a reading or anything, you can always request for me in the page. I'll talk to you all soon. Take care. Love you all. And I'll see you all next week. Bye bye.